child missing for years.
And there's been no sign of him.
A family with no new answers.
Certainly, we've hit a wall.
But now, new video from police.
I'm pretty sure there's something in that car you don't want me to find.
New details about what happened inside this house.
You don't keep kids in a closet. That's not normal.
And a new journey.
Going right through the mountains.
Thousands of miles away. To find out.
Pretty sure that's her.
What really happened.
Hi, Crystal. Is Hayden alive or dead?
Right now, 13 investigates.
Where's Hayden?
Where's Hayden?
Where's Hayden Manis?
That's the question we ask ourselves every day.
A little boy simply vanished, but no one reported him missing for years. 13 Investigates was first to report the disappearance of Hayden Manis. It's a case that's baffled police. Now, we've uncovered new information as detectives and family members try to figure out what happened to Hayden. Hayden Manis' 10th birthday just passed with no celebration.
I miss him dearly.
Just give us some answers.
His family doesn't know where the boy is or if he's even alive.
Where's Hayden? Nobody can come up with Hayden. The last person that was responsible for him couldn't provide any information about where he was. And that's when we realized, I think,
Something terrible had happened.
yeah.
The last time Hayden's aunts and grandfather saw him was late 2019 at his great-grandmother's house. Hayden was 4.5 years old. They say after that, Hayden's father, Dustin Manis, stopped bringing the boy to family events. Dustin later claimed Hayden was taken away by DCS to go live with his mother. But last fall, these family members discovered that was a lie.
Oh, God.
And that's when they contacted police. Investigators found Dustin, but not his son.
Do you think Hayden's alive?
No, I don't think he's with us anymore.
I mean, the police have been working on this non-stop since September. And there's been no sign of him.
Back in September, investigators searched this house looking for evidence. It's where Hayden lived with his dad and his dad's girlfriend, Crystal Hall. Detectives questioned both of them, but within a few months, Dustin died from a drug overdose, and Crystal moved out of state, bringing the investigation to a near standstill.
Are we any closer now to figuring out what happened to Hayden than we were a couple months ago?
I don't think so, no.
Eric Hoffman is the prosecutor in Delaware County. He says detectives have received several tips since 13 Investigates first reported Hayden's disappearance back in February. And there's now a $1,000 reward for information that directly leads to Hayden's whereabouts. But still, no crack in the case, no Hayden, no arrest.
Certainly, we've hit a wall, but the question is, can you go around the wall or climb over the wall? And that's what we're trying to do now.
While investigators look for more clues, 13 Investigates has discovered new information about the timing of Hayden's disappearance and about the people who might have been the last to see him alive.
Do you have a driver's license?
I do have a driver's license, yes, sir.
Okay.
13 News obtained this video of Dustin Manis from November, just a few weeks before he died. For the first time, 13 Investigates can show you Hayden's father pulled over for a traffic stop in Muncie. And this new police body cam video shows he's nervous.
Nothing illegal on you?
No.
Dustin, is there anything illegal inside your car?
No.
Okay. No methamphetamine, marijuana,
Nope.
heroin,
Nope.
any weapons you shouldn't have?
When Dustin tells the officer he does not want him to search the car he's driving, suspicion grows.
Dustin, I've been doing this a long time.
No,
bud.
I understand.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there's something in that car you don't want me to find. Okay, because I mean, I stopped you for a traffic infraction and your stress level is way up here.
That's when Dustin tells the officer why he's so nervous.
I just literally got questions about my son being missing and whatnot, so I'm just upset about that.
He also admitted there might be a little bit of drug residue in the vehicle. Police searched it and found methamphetamine.
A little more than residue, right?
Yeah.
Dustin, I told you the entire time you got something more in there
There's a
than
little bit of heroin in my pocket and a syringe too.
Turns out Dustin's claim that he had no drugs, yet another example of him making up a story that was not true, just like the story he told about DCS taking away Hayden.
There's a lot of inconsistent information. It's a difficult investigation.
Still trying to put together the time frame?
Yes, and that's an ongoing task, and it's quite difficult. Again, we're working backwards 4 years. And it's literally like chasing a ghost.
But the timeline of Hayden's disappearance is now a little more clear, thanks to new tips and interviews obtained by 13 News. You might remember, Dustin's family members say the last time they saw Hayden was at a family gathering on Christmas Eve 2019.
He was getting presents. He was excited.
And this poster asking for help in finding the missing boy from Muncie says Hayden was last seen just a few days later, in January 2020, according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. But 13 Investigates has discovered Hayden was actually seen months later at this go-kart track near Newcastle. That tip came to 13 News from a woman who says she was at the track in late August 2020 and saw Hayden sitting in the second row of these stands. 13 Investigates spoke to a second person who confirmed he also saw Hayden here on August 30th, 2020. And that's important because it means Hayden's disappearance did not happen until at least 8 months later than originally thought.
I mean, were you guys all together that day?
Yeah.
That second person who saw Hayden at the track is Paul Hall.
Dustin and Hayden actually did live on my property.
Paul is the father of Crystal Hall, Dustin Manis's girlfriend at the time Hayden is believed to have gone missing. Paul also owned the Muncie home where Hayden, Dustin, and Crystal lived during the time of the disappearance. They lived on one side of this house, and Paul and his wife lived on the other. Hi, Paul. Over the past 4 months,
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
13 Investigates has talked with Paul several times. He does not want to meet with me in person.
Yes, Paul.
But he did agree to several recorded phone interviews to share what he knows. And he knows a lot.
Hayden actually called me Mr. Grandpa while he was there. I babysat him several times.
Tell me about Hayden, about this little boy who lived in part of your home.
He was a pretty smiley guy. He did have some what I would call behavioral challenges, to where, there were times where he wouldn't respect authority. But other than that, he seemed like a normal, adjusted little boy.
At one point, Hayden is living at your house, and at another point, he's not. What did Dustin tell you when you said, "Where's Hayden"?
That the mom had a DNA test done, and that Hayden was with his mom.
At the time, did you think anything odd about that story?
No, I didn't, and I'll tell you, it torments me every day now, Bob. No, I didn't. Bob, it was my job to protect that little boy. I just never thought, that I would have to protect him from his own father.
Paul told me about the day last fall when investigators searched his home with cadaver dogs and with detectives from the state crime lab.
So they did bring a search warrant to the property, and they took a little tiny section of the floor out of the master closet that was in the mother-in-law's quarters. I remember the officer asked me, "What do you think this means with us asking for this?" And, I remember answering him. I says, "I think that means that you guys think something might have happened to him in my house."
How did you feel about police searching your home?
Absolutely sick and mortified, because I just knew deep down that something really bad has happened here.
Paul says he tried to watch out for Hayden, even confronting Dustin when a family member contacted Paul personally to express concern that Hayden was being kept inside the house in a dog cage.
We looked, we never saw any cage, never saw anything even resembling that.
We had heard from some family members that they heard that Hayden was locked in a closet for discipline. Did you ever see that or hear about that happening?
I think that was kind of confused with the cage thing, because I think that's what happened. I think that Dustin had put him in the closet, which was a walk-in closet, by the way. Still unacceptable, and I believe that was the same incident that somehow it went from closet to cage, and that was the one incident that I had confronted and had the conversation with Dustin about.
Our conversation then turned to Paul's daughter, who has not returned any phone calls from 13 Investigates. Do you think Crystal had anything to do with the disappearance of Hayden?
No. And I'm not saying that because I'm her dad. Again, I have never seen her act violent towards anything or anybody in her whole entire life. And, I've seen her give her children a normal spanking. I have never seen anything worse than that. If I thought for 1 minute that my daughter had something to do with what's happened to Hayden, I'd turn her in myself.
You've spoken with your daughter about what happened to Hayden. What did she tell you?
Well, she thinks, like I think, that he murdered his son.
If she's right, does Crystal know more details about that murder? Does she know anything about Hayden's death, his disappearance, or what happened to his body? Have you spoken with your daughter about that?
I actually haven't asked her that question. That's probably a question that I need to ask her.
Keep in mind, they live in the same house. Paul and I spoke multiple times. Again and again, I'd ask the same questions. Have you asked her directly again and again the same response?
No, I have not, and I think I will once I get home today.
Okay, we've had this conversation several times, and every time we've talked about it, you've said, "Oh, I'm going to talk to her about it." So,
there might be a part of me that doesn't want to know the answer to that question.
It's inconsistent to say that you'd turn her in if you thought that she might have anything to do with it, but then not be willing to ask her whether or not she had anything to do with it.
Text me the questions you want me to ask her, Bob. I'll give you the commitment that I'll ask her. It's the right thing to do, so I'll do it.
I did text questions for Paul's daughter, and the following week, we talked again.
She has absolutely no desire to talk about any of this. She just said, I'm not answering anybody's questions. And for anybody that wants to know anything, they'll have to get the information from the police.
What do you think of that?
I don't agree with her decision at all. I don't understand why she won't talk to anybody. So, that is a concern for me.
Another concern for Paul, what he saw inside the part of the house where Hayden was living after Hayden was gone and Dustin had moved out.
After all this happened and I went in there and I saw the damage to the inside of that house, I don't know how I didn't hear the obvious fits of violence that went through there. There were holes in the wall, there were broken doors, but I found this stuff, out all after the fact. The bottom line is I did fail that little boy. Nothing changes that. He was there. I should have seen what was happening. I didn't. I wish I would have, and I wish the whole thing. Give me a minute, will you?
Yeah.
I wish I would have seen it, Bob. I would have died stopping it if that's what it would have took.
Is Paul Hall having remorse for not doing something that he knows damn well he should have done? I don't know.
We asked the prosecutor to respond to what we heard from Paul. He said some of the statements are troubling.
You don't keep kids in a closet. That's not normal. If he knew something, he had a duty to act, and he failed to do so. And so when he says he failed Hayden, he did so miserably, as did others.
The prosecutor also told me both Paul and his daughter provided detectives with inconsistent and conflicting information. Is Crystal Hall a person of interest in this case?
Yes.
Why?
From the information we've gathered, she's a person of interest in the case. I'm not necessarily calling her a suspect or that she harmed or did anything to Hayden. I'm not going to confirm or deny that, but she is most definitely a person of interest because she lived with him. For her not to be a person of interest wouldn't make much sense, given the facts.
What are the facts? Well, 13 Investigates has been trying to ask Crystal about those for months, and not just through her dad.
Hi, Crystal. My name is Bob Siegel.
I called and called.
Just want to follow up on the message that I left you last week.
I also texted and mailed her my list of detailed questions. But she did not respond at all. So we decided to go see her in person, 2,000 miles away.
Want you to sit back and relax and enjoy this 3-hour, 11-minute flight to Las Vegas.
Our search for answers took us to Nevada and a drive through the desert.
Going right through the mountains.
To the small town where Crystal and her family moved a few months ago.
Pretty sure that's her.
That's where I finally got to meet Crystal and ask my questions face to face.
Hi, Crystal. Hi, Crystal. I'm Bob Siegel with 13 News. Can you help me understand what happened to Hayden?
I am not talking to you.
Is there anything you can share at all? No. Anything?
I cannot. I would like for you to stop this.
We're just trying to get answers to what happened.
And I did that with the police.
Is there a reason that you won't answer any additional questions?
Because I'm not obligated to. And I did work with them.
Do you know what happened to Hayden?
I cannot talk to you about that.
Is Hayden alive or dead?
I cannot talk to you about that.
Is there anything you can say at all?
I told you I cannot.
Can you help provide his family with any answers?
I already helped the police. I did what I could. I have information with the case that I am not going to risk divulging. I was a part of the investigation, asking questions that I was instructed to. I'm not going to divulge stuff that I'm not supposed to.
When you say information that you're not supposed to, did police tell you not to divulge more information?
During the investigation and during everything when I was with them, it was to keep it between me and the officers I was working with, yes.
Our meeting did not last long. Crystal acknowledged she does know more about what happened to Hayden. She just isn't going to discuss it.
I don't believe talking to a reporter and blowing this up more on social media for people to make their own stories, ideas, etc. from is the right call.
Can you share anything about what happened so that people are not making up stories?
I cannot. I did that, like I said, with the police already.
Can you tell us if you know whether Hayden is alive or dead?
I cannot.
I get the impression there's a lot of information that you are not going to share. Would you like to be able to share that information?
I am not going to talk to you any further.
That's the moment we realized tracking down answers in the desert, no easier than finding them back in Indiana. Crystal isn't talking. Neither is the sheriff's department. And investigators have not named anyone as a suspect in Hayden's disappearance. It means the investigation continues with an updated timeline, without a critical witness, and with lots of lingering questions still unanswered.
The prosecutor and the sheriff's department are still looking for tips. If you know anything about what happened to Hayden, please call the Delaware County Sheriff Investigations Division. That's the number on your screen. You can find that and more details about our investigation on WTHR.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Bob Siegel, 13 Investigates.